Now let's listen to the man himself, Jose Maria Sison, the founder and the apparent leader of the Communist Party in this country, who's currently residing in the Netherlands. Like I said, the Netherlands is the 14th most capitalist countries, number 14 in terms of ranking. One of the most capitalist countries on earth, according to economic freedom. Okay, and the Philippines is actually at the bottom of the list, and he's living in one of the most capitalist countries on earth. Yet he is advocating communism for the Philippines while enjoying, the fruits of capitalism in the Netherlands. Okay, by having economic freedom means having all these property rights. You can do business. You have the right to free speech, etc. You can do whatever you want. You can establish business, but that's not what Jose Maria Sison and his organization, Communist Party, is trying to establish here in the Philippines. When we say socialism or communism, that's going to be the abrogation of private property. Private property. There's going to be one party only. Okay. In the Netherlands, they have a few parties. Okay. Under communism, there's just going to be one party, like the Communist Party of China or the Communist Party in Soviet Russia. There's not going to be any party at all. Okay, that means that your right to free speech is going to be stifled by the party because you exist, okay, for the benefit of the party and the collective community. That's the ideology of communism. Your right is going to be subjugated to the so-called collective right of the community, which is like the god. The society is going to be the god of the people. So let's listen to Mr. Semari Sison in his interview with, I think, ANC or ABS-CBN.
Think they can of red baiting, military officials as well as President Duterte's cabinet have said it's communist leader Jose Maria Sison who had labeled progressive groups such as Gabriela and Anak Bayan as communist fronts in the first place. Mr. Sison himself joins us now on the show.
Here in this interview, Jose Maria Sison denied, labeling or admitting that these legal groups, legal militant groups, are actually part of the NDF or the covert operations of the NDF.
Chairman of the Communist Party of the Philippines. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Well, I think it's the Duterte regime practicing state terrorism.
Okay.
Right. Before we proceed, notice how good this man is in terms of gaslighting. He's not going to directly answer the question, he's simply going to dodge the question. Notice that his goal in this interview is not to answer the question, but to simply dodge the question. His goal is simply to relay his own propaganda, in order to fool the people.
His so-called anti-terrorism act is shot through with violations of the civil and political rights of the people.
Okay, sir. Before we proceed, I'll throw the first question. We have limited time. I hope we can cover a lot of issues here. Number one, let's clarify things once and for all. You were shown in this, I think, 1987 video saying that it is true that the minority class, especially only the party which represents it, cannot win without the Philippine Revolution, win the Philippine Revolution all by itself. And then you allegedly, you were the one who allegedly red baited groups such as Gabriela, KMU, KMP, LFS.
What alleged? He directly stated it. The word alleged is irrelevant here.
The Alliance of Concerned Teachers in that video. So are they actually serving as fronts of the Communist Party of the Philippines?
Well, I spoke in Belgium, in Brussels, Belgium in 1988, and the Philippine military was able to get hold of the video. They spliced the video to make it appear that I said that the legal democratic organizations are fronts in the
See, he's lying here. Splice the video. He's accusing the military of splicing the video, but his statement is pretty clear. Okay? The context is there. He's simply stating, he's proudly stating that all these legal organizations in this country, the militant groups like KMU, Bayan Muna, LFS, Gabriela, are part of their Democratic Front, the covert Democratic Front. He stated that. He's proud of that achievement of these militant groups. And he's now trying to gaslight viewers of ANC or ABS-CBN that, he's blaming the government of splicing or trying to come up with probably extremely edited version of what happened in 1988, when in fact his statement is pretty much clear. It's pretty much clear. Okay, where's the splicing there? Okay, so this guy is trained in terms of Marxist deception. He's trained in Marxist. He's been doing that in his whole life. Okay, so let's continue.
their facade. No, I never use that kind of language.
Let's get back there. He said, I've never used that kind of language, the front or facade. Yes, you're right. You've never used that kind of language. He's playing semantics game here, or deception. But they are part of the covert operations of the NDF. Okay? They're not really, technically, front of the CPP-NPA, but they are part of it. That's the reason why you're proud of their achievements, right? And this guy is trained in Marxist deception and gaslighting.
No, I never use that kind of language.
You're right.
As a matter of fact, I differentiated the legal forces of the National Democratic Movement from the armed revolutionary movement.
Legal forces. As if differentiating the legal forces. So, yes, he admitted himself that these militant organizations are legal forces, and the armed forces, which is a CPP-NPA, these are legal forces. He admitted himself. He's using semantics here. Yes, let me try to decode what he's trying to say here. He's not admitting that these militant groups like Bayan Muna, KMU, Gabriela, LFS are, front of the CPP-NPA. Yes, that's true. They're not front of the CPP-NPA, but he's admitting that these are legal forces or legal groups of the CPP-NPA. Therefore, they can operate legally in the Philippines. But we also have our armed wing of the CPP, okay, which is the NPA. That's what he's trying to say here. He's denying, which is correct, that these militant groups are front, but these are simply legal groups or forces of the CPP-NPA. He's playing semantics here. Okay, he's playing semantics.
So it's stupid of the military to splice this. I can give you the full video.
Well, regardless of whether the military splice it or not, you admitted it yourself that they are part of the legal forces of the CPP-NPA. They're part of the NDF. The NDF is like the tactical political group of the CPP. It's like it's Intel, the Intel group, and it's coming up with this covert or underground, as stated in your own constitution, under Article 10, Section 6, okay? You have these underground organizations under the NDF, and these are part of the underground organization, underground covert operation of the NDF, the KMU, the Gabriela, Bayan Muna, LFS. You admitted yourself.
From the Workers' Party of Belgium, and it's totally stupid of the military. I used to call them military morons, but I call them idiots. I always make a differentiation between the legal democratic organizations.
Okay, differentiating these legal democratic forces of the CPP And the armed wing does not absolve you from the fact that you admitted it yourself. They are part of your organization. Saying it legal does not cure the fact that they are part of the communist movement, right? So who's stupid here? Who's moron here, Mr. Jose Maria Season? I mean, his attempt at gaslighting is unbelievably mendacious. He thinks that the Filipino people are stupid. Okay, so what you're trying to say here, as an analogy, yes, they are not part of our organization, but they are subsidiary of CPP-NPA. It's like a corporation, so it's not the mother corporation, but it's simply a subsidiary. Okay, it's like a shell company. That's the best analogy that I can give. So there is a corporation, okay, but in order to hide its money laundering operations and other irregularities from the SEC, for example, a corporation that is doing illegal activities, it has a shell corporation. Shell corporation is a shadow corporation where they can hide all their money laundering operations and all irregular or corrupt activities. So that's the best analogy that I could give. So all these legal forces or groups that Mr. Jose Maria Season mentioned, Gabriela, KMU, Bayan Muna, LFS, these are like shell corporations that they supported. They support each other in order to infiltrate the government. That is exactly what he's trying to say here. Okay, so who's stupid now?
And the revolutionary forces in the underground and those involved in the People's War in the countryside.
Okay.
See?
Now, another issue that was raised yesterday during the Senate hearing, there was this whistleblower, allegedly a former member of the New People's Army. Ka Eric, Jeffrey Celis was the real name, supposedly. Now, he alleged that based on the extortion activities by the New People's Army, as much as 50% of the amount goes to the CPP and in the
Observe how he's gonna dodge and this question and gaslight again the viewers here.
plans, benefiting including yourself. Is this true?
He's not gonna answer. Again, the question is, are they funneling money
The
to your
Netherlands,
organization
benefiting including yourself. Is this true?
or to the Netherlands?
Professor Sison.
See?
Oh, this so-called Eric with the real name of
Jeffrey Celis.
Look at
Yeah,
how he
allegedly,
tried to
nakikinabang
dismiss the
daw
question.
I
sa
have
nakokolekt
already
ng pera.
exposed him as a fake. And Parlade and the other military cyber experts up to the level of Esperon.
Is not answering the question. It's not answering the question because he knows that that's actually the case. He's getting money from all these organizations. Okay, he himself is benefiting from it, and he's not gonna answer the question.
All liars.
He's gonna gaslight.
They get a lot of public money. As a matter of fact, this military overspending is a major cause of the bankruptcy, the growing bankruptcy of the Philippine government, and they use the money for
Just answer the
fake
question.
surrenders, fake witnesses, fake encounters, and fake projects.
Okay.
So they are losing. They're losing the fight.
So the interviewer should have said, "So you're not answering the question. So just answer the question. Is it true that they're funneling money to you and to your organization? Just answer the question."
In the countryside, and they think they can finish off the movement or show signs of success.
Here he's simply trying to filibuster. He's not gonna answer the question. He's simply trying to buy some time in order for the interviewer to move on to the next question.
By red tagging and human rights defenders in
Okay.
the urban areas.
Finally, sir, one of the
It is
And he's able to successfully do so. The interviewer did not insist on repeating the question and trying to stay on topic, and the interviewer just moved on to his next final question.
That is engaged
This
in
guy is
extortion.
really good at
Duterte and
dodging
his military
questions.
minions are extorting from the Filipino people by
And Jose Maria Zizon took that opportunity to still relay his propaganda. Okay, he's trying to filibuster and at the same time um, say his piece, propaganda piece.
intimidating them, spreading mass intimidation, and in the name of anti-terrorism, they extract a lot of public money, and they are the ones collecting from private businesses for their own private pockets. As
Okay.
a matter of fact, a lot of mining is done in the country.
Just answer the
by
question.
foreign companies, and the mineral ores exported from the country are not even declared. So
Okay.
that's how we are ruled by plunderers who take advantage of the social
So you're not a plunderer. You're getting money yourself. You're corrupt yourself. All right.
and natural wealth of
Okay.
the Filipino people.
Finally, sir, I'd like to ask this allegation. Another alleged former member of the NPA came forward yesterday claiming that he had been raped 3 times by a commander of the New People's Army. Do these incidents actually happen in the New People's Army, and what is being done when something like that happens?
Again, what are you trying to look at there, Jose Maria?
Could you repeat the question?
Meron daw pong mga...
I think they missed the point about in the previous question about well,
Look how good he is at trying to relay his propaganda pieces or remarks. Okay, it's like he's like reciting a poem, a memorized slogan. But when it comes to answering tough questions about their corruption, the rape allegations, he just couldn't hear it. Okay, he just didn't hear the question.
money going to
You know,
to me and the others. No, that's entirely untrue.
and true, really.
Okay. Anyway,
I depend on the assistance of relatives and friends. And I don't have. I have.
See his style here, the tactic here is that he's unwilling to answer the rape allegations, so he tried to answer the question prior to that in order to divert the interviewer's attention. Okay, so that's his way of trying to dodge the question.
Relatives and friends. No, that's well known. I don't have to depend on on funds that belong to the revolutionary movement and especially the people's
Okay.
government, which performs governmental functions, including taxation of enterprises that are allowable.
Taxation allowable? What do you mean allowable? Allowable under whose law, Mr. Jose Maria Sison? Allowable under whose law? Under whose government? He's speaking about the revolutionary taxes, the extortion. We are not liable under their own law to pay extortion taxes.
An entirely
But he's not willing to answer the
different
rape
issue,
allegations question.
That doesn't concern me personally.
Okay.
Anyway, about the military keeps on
See,
making stories.
going
like
back to the
rape of
military.
children, soldiering by children.
The problem with them is that, yes, we have Duterte and he's a spokesperson, Haruroke, and the media call Duterte or accuse Duterte of lying, of not being accountable, of trying to dodge any issue. But then if you listen to Jose Maria Sison, the leader, he's like the president of the communist government in this country. He's unwilling to answer the question. Imagine if this guy were the president of this country. He's not going to be accountable to anyone. He's going to lie to you. He's even lying to simple questions here. Imagine if he were Duterte, if they had power in this country. They're not gonna tell you the truth. They're gonna suppress you. That's the nature of communists and socialists.
you know, the revolutionary movement represented by the National Democratic Front is a belligerent force in the Civil War, and it is committed.
All right, here he's simply saying some gibberish here, but definitely, you know, the communists are good military tacticians. They know what they're doing. So, like I said, there is an ongoing. We're going back to the four principles that we need to understand in order to fight the propaganda, the red tagging propaganda by the communists and their allies. So the first principle here is there is an existing war between the Philippine government and the Communist Party, okay, Jose Maria Sison and his gang. The second principle here is that we need to know is that all war is based on deception. All warfare is deception. Okay, the communists used some covert operations, some shadowy groups. They have this what we call legal groups, as Mr. Sison himself said. The legal groups. There is a differentiation between the legal groups that we have, the KMU, Gabriela, Bayan Muna, and the armed wing of the party. Okay, but he's not denying the fact that these are part of the Communist Party, although, like I said earlier, these legal groups are like shell company or shadow company of the Communist Party in this country that are trying to infiltrate our government. So that's our goal, to infiltrate our government and to undermine the existing status quo in this country. And then the third one is knowing the enemy. We need to know the enemy. We need to understand their tactics. We need to know who these people are, what they're capable of. Okay? And then the fourth one is to defeat the enemy and its allies, whether they be legal allies or covert operation allies or not. They need to be defeated at all costs, legally and under what the Constitution permits in this country. So this is an Uncensored Asian vlog, and have a good one to all of you.